Hi everyone, here's AJ. Welcome back to the channel. Got another movie review for you today. I'm going to be reviewing the new release of Clifford the Big Red Dog. So let's talk about this movie. Okay, so Clifford the Big Red Dog has just come out. It's got a run time of 1 hour 37 minutes and a PG rating. The film comes at us directed by Walt Becker, who previously has directed films like Van Wilder, Wild Hogs, and one of the Alvin and the Chipmunk movies. Not that that says much. Now, the film stars Darby Camp as Emily. She's a young actress who I know from the two Christmas Chronicle movies with Kurt Russell. Jack Whitehall plays Casey. Now, he's recently been seen in Jungle Cruise. Isaac Wong, a young Asian actor, plays a character called Owen. John Cleese makes an appearance now and then throughout the film as a character called Birdwell. And Tony Hale as the villain of the piece, Tieran. You'll know the face. I'm aware of Clifford, the Big Red Dog. I know it's a series of books. It may have been a cartoon series or something like this. I don't know. I've just got an awareness of it as opposed to a familiarity or anything like this. I don't know nothing about Clifford the Big Red Dog apart from it's a dog that's big and red. There you go. I've had no exposure to anything of it prior to sitting down and watching this film. Now, a bit of an odd choice, sit down and watch this film. I fancied something lighter. I watched Shang-Chi the other night. I didn't enjoy it. I got halfway through the new Bond film. I've still yet to finish that off. And this film became available to watch. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to give this a watch. I know it's a children's movie. I expect nothing more. But it's light entertainment. How bad can it be? A little bit about the story. Obviously, Red Dog. But no, the film starts off with a Labrador who's got puppies, one of them being Red, and the mother dog is taken by pest control, you know, the people who take stray dogs, and they take the puppies away, but they miss the red one. And the little red puppy scampers off and gets met by John Cleese. Yes, we're introduced to Emily, who's a young girl who's quite lonely, not got many friends, this sort of thing. And her mother has to go away to work elsewhere and has to get a babysitter. And thusly, she gets her brother, played by Jack Whitehall, playing the character of Casey, to come in and babysit. Now, he's a bit of a down and out, so to speak, living in the back of his van and quite slobbery and this sort of thing, that sort of a character, you know, a lazy individual, shall we say. So he's tasked with looking after the young girl. They go to this tent in this park where it's like a sort of animal rescue tent, and they go inside and they're met by John Cleese when they're in there. Now, John Cleese is playing a character called Birdwell, who I believe is a Time Lord, much like Doctor Who, because he's dressed up like Doctor Who possibly would be dressed. And also, this tent, and it's mentioned, is larger on the inside than what it is on the outside. Or the outside is smaller than the inside. However you want to look at it. So, yeah, a little bit of a joke there. So the dog kind of ends up going home with her, and the dog will grow as big as how much love she gives the dog, and thusly the dog grows massive. And along goes, you know, you get a load of events with the dog happening, you know, like what you do, the house getting trashed, the dog in the park chasing after people in them running big inflatable running balls, you know, the sort of things you'd expect in this sort of a film. We're introduced to Tieran, the villain of the piece, who's a scientist who's working on enlarging food to try and stave off the starvation in areas of the world and feed people through genetics by making food bigger, this sort of thing. And thusly he sees the dog on the news and decides that you know, the genes within that dog are what's gonna enable him to produce what he wants. So he goes after the dog for this reasoning. The young boy Owen, played by Isaac Wong, he's an individual at the school that Emily goes to, and they form a friendship. He learns about the dog. They go to his house with the dog. His father says that there's a place in Japan, a big open ground where the dog can be taken to. They go through this rigmarole of getting the dog on a ship. The little girl doesn't want to let the dog go, this sort of thing. But the ship stopped, and the dog is airlifted off the ship and taken back to the mainland, to the research place where they're saying that it's a dog that has escaped from there, and they've chipped the dog a bit earlier in the film to make it as though it is theirs. This sort of thing goes on. Then there's a rescue and a chase and all this sort of stuff, you know, the sort of stuff you'd expect, until John Cleese pops up back at the end, and there you have it. That's pretty much your story of the film. So it was an enjoyable 97 minutes, don't get me wrong. The effects with the dog at the start of the film, when the dog was a puppy, they weren't particularly great. It felt like there was no weight to the dog when they were holding it. It felt like they weren't holding any weight, this sort of thing. So I was a bit sort of, you know, yeah, it was on shaky ground at that point. I'm sure children won't. Obviously, children ain't going to notice this. But when the dog grows big, which it is for the majority of the film, obviously, the effects do improve. And you know, for the most part, it's very well done. The film is competently directed. Walt Becker has done a really good job. It's, you know, the film runs. It doesn't bore at all. It goes from piece to set piece to set piece, and it's a lot of fun. It's very enjoyable, family children's film. Yeah, there's not much more I can really say about it. It's, you know, would I sit down and watch it again? Yeah, if I was bored and it was on or something like that. It's good, wholesome family entertainment. It's not an offensive film, you know. It's very inoffensive. It's just a good film that I could recommend you take younger children to go and see, or put on the TV for younger children to see. They'll get a lot out of it, a lot of enjoyment. You know, young Derby Camp, Emily, she's quite a good actress in her own right. Jack Whitehall is very good in it. You know, he sort of, as the main player, one of the main players to the film, he sort of steals the show in that sense. I'd like to see more of him in other stuff, but he stood out more to me in this than what he did in Jungle Cruise anyway. John Cleese just steals any scene that he's in. You know, John Cleese is fantastic anyway, and he seems like he enjoys being there, and he's having quite a good time with this character. So yeah, so all in all, a very enjoyable film. Highly recommend it, especially for little ones. But that's it. Anyway, this is AJ. Thanks for taking your time to watch this review. If you do enjoy it and you want to see more content, please hit the subscribe button, notification bell, all that sort of stuff. Give me a thumbs up, you know what to do. I'm not going to go through it all. But anyway, so this is AJ. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one, hopefully. Take care all. Good night.